All right, so I'm out here on Kota-Ray. It's a lake just south of Ray, North Dakota, and this was a really fun day. I caught a lot of fish. You'll see a lot of them here on this video. Most of them were small, but there are some really surprising fish. Not surprising, but some really nice fish in this video. So we start things off with this little porker of a largemouth bass. I mean, this thing is fat. Like I tried to show you here, and he's just not having it. But he is just a fat little bass. Um, as far as tackle and stuff I'm using today, I am using a Arbogacia Silver Max and a Black Max rod and reel combo. I'll be switching between those two. And currently, I'm using a Texas rig Power Worm in the purple and black color. Uh, it's done pretty good in the past. Actually, today I won't catch basically anymore. This is, I think, no, that was the only fish I'd catch on that. But then I switched to the Black Max here and end up catching just a bunch of little bass and other fish on this little spinner. So it's basically one of those beetle spin um, little spinner bait wire rigs, and you put on your own jig head stuff. And I just put on a simple little jig head and a small power minnow on the end of it in the kind of the blue and white color, and that seemed to really do the trick. I'm going to catch a ton of these little bass and some other fish too on this before the day's over. Um, and I will eventually go back and catch some bigger fish too. But man, it was just a blast. The weather was perfect, 70 degrees, something like that, 75 degrees, almost no wind, um, and just caught a bunch of fish. This fish was really weird. It's super blue, and I caught two fish like that today. Normally the fish are kind of generic colored, nothing too fancy, but like this fish had a really blue underside. And I tried to show here in the video, but it does not show like it should. Like it was really blue, kind of pearlescent colored. He was really dark, kind of an interesting colored bass for this lake. Um, Most of the fish in this video are like in the half a pound to a pound range or smaller, but the lake does have some bigger ones. I actually went out about 3 or 4 days before this and caught a 16-inch bass and a 17-inch bass, and then later in this video you'll see some fish of that size and quality. Um, but yeah, so I'll just let you guys watch for a little bit and come back. Now, this next fish, it was a real surprise. Like, I knew that there were these guys in here, but I actually had never caught one. And then to catch one of this size was actually really surprising. Um, and I'm still using the little spinner, the little beetle spin, and so it's a relatively large bait too. It's not terribly small, and he's putting up a good fight. Fight's a little weird. I'm a little bit confused here, and then I actually see him, and I'm like, whoa, it's a bluegill, and one of the bigger bluegill I've seen in North Dakota. I looked it up later, and they do get bigger than this. This isn't even a Whopper Club. They have to be 11 inches to be Whopper Club in North Dakota, and this guy only comes in at 9, but he's still one of the biggest ones I've seen in North Dakota, and first one I've actually caught in this lake. So I was pretty impressed. I thought he was a really nice fish. And not only was that first bluegill a surprise and a nice fish, I managed to get a second one, um, about the same size actually, like almost identical fish. And so you'll see me pull this one in here, hill, and I was just like kind of blown away. I went from never catching any bluegill in this lake to all of a sudden catching two quite nice sized ones. So that was really surprising. All these fish actually within these last few minutes were just in rapid succession. If you notice, there was no like break or transition in the video. These were just one, two, three, like boom, boom, boom. It was really awesome, and that was a nice fish. I thought that was a nice bluegill, really good sized. Another 9 incher there, but a couple more small ones to go, and then we're gonna get some real big fish. Now I've been fishing that little beetle spinner for most of this video, but I switched to a bass jig topped with that purple power bait worm on the end of it, partially because I lost my weed guard, so I just kind of somewhat Texas rigged this power worm on there. And I'm fishing right at the edge of these weeds. They drop down to about 10 feet before they actually end, so that the weeds go out pretty deep, and then all of a sudden there's this ledge, and so I'm fishing right on the ledge of these weeds, and apparently that's where the bigger fish were hiding or are hiding. Um, this is pretty late in the year. I don't usually fish this lake this late in the year, so the pattern's a little bit different. Normally they're holding right up on those cattails, but today and last week actually they were holding a lot deeper. But this is a real nice fish here, um, especially for North Dakota. Yeah, just that broke the weed guard off right there off of my jig. But this is a really nice bass from North Dakota. The largemouth don't get very big, and some of the bigger ones are from a lake that's actually kind of heated by a power plant. So especially on a natural, well, not natural, but a more natural temperature lake like this one, this is a really nice largemouth bass. He comes in right at 15 inches, which is a great fish. I love catching that. Um, but I actually do end up catching a 16-inch one not too long after this guy, but the battery died on my camera, so you don't get to see that one. But there will be one more you get to see too after this one. Now this fish, I unfortunately had the camera off because I hadn't been catching much lately, but I managed to get it on during the fight here. I hooked into him a little bit different part of the lake, but same basic idea. I'm fishing a weed bed, and he actually gets really caught up into the weeds right here. He just dive bombs into the thick weeds, and so I have to work pretty hard to pull him out. I lost a fish earlier today. I don't know about his size, but a bigger bass didn't dive bombing into the weed like this. But luckily, I get this one out. But he kind of came out and caught me off guard, so I'm a little frantic here. But get him lipped and get him in the kayak. He's a nice fish. Comes in at about 17 inches and real fat and healthy, nice largemouth bass. Real quick check to make sure the camera's on because I missed that one earlier today. But that's a nice bass. All in all, the day was really successful. I don't know how many fish I caught on the day. I lost count. Most of them got on video, but there's actually a section there where I had switched to a topwater buzzbait and caught quite a few little guys, and that's where I got the 16 incher, but didn't get that one on video. But man, this fish was just a nice way to end it. I called it right after this fish, so it was a good day, and I'd love to do it again. The kayak, it was awesome. They don't even see it. I got to see lots of fish right below the kayak and everything, and it was nice to let them all go and release them all. So, successful day of fishing.